Canes, what's up, man? First guy in the chat. What else is new? What else is new? You would have hated me if you were still a player today. My brother said my chair back seats I like to sit in. My brother sold my chair back seats I like to sit in, so he moved me to the field box next to the opposing team's dugout and on deck circle. They heard me all game long. Dude, honestly, like I'm being dead honest, Canes, like that I didn't even pay any attention to that. Like if you said something kind of funny, like talking trash to me, I would laugh. But like as far as like if I was not the type of player where like because I played with guys like this, played with guys like, dude, those guys in the on deck circle were so annoying. Like that just never entered my head. Like never once. I never once was like, gosh, those guys are annoying. I just like totally zoned it out. And again, like if I heard like someone said something funny, I would laugh at it, but I would have just been like, oh yeah, those guys, they were talking a lot of trash. But it wouldn't have bothered me. I would remember it, right? I remember all the times in college where the fans were pretty crazy, but all right. Georgia Tech, it's bark in the park. I'm going to bring both of my brother's French bulldogs and bring them to the field box since the Yellow Jackets are afraid of bulldogs. Ben Miller was actually really nice, cool dude. Yeah, that's what I was going to say is a lot of times those guys in the on deck circle that would talk trash to me, by the end of the game, they're like, dude, like they're like following me on social media and they're like, Kyle, man, like that was really cool getting to talk to her. You know, like I just it didn't bother me. Like you could say the nastiest thing ever to me and it was just not going to faze me because at the end of the day, I knew like that was what you were trying to do, you know? So I just wasn't going to let it happen. Virginia Tech loses to Florida State. Close game, though. Close game. Kentucky, I don't know if you saw this, Canes. Kentucky walked off Texas in the 15th inning. And you know what that means? That means because that was for the series win, right? Now, I didn't look at the box score, and I don't know. Golly, what is this? I don't know Texas bullpen well enough to know, like, did they use guys? But you, generally speaking, when you got the series win on the line, you just like, you're going for it. So this 15 inning game that Kentucky was able to win, it may be kind of the equalizer. It may be the equalizers that allows them to steal a win, right? Because Texas, I think probably depth-wise, we all agree, has probably got better depth than Kentucky right now. But hey, when you got to cover 15 innings, depth goes out the window. It's just like, hey, let's see who outslugs the other team on Sunday. How about North Carolina 17-1, 17-1's Wake Forest. Yikes. I mean, Wake is the most confusing team in the ACC, right? They beat Florida State 2 of 3. Let me turn this music down. It's bugging me. Okay. Auburn tough again against LSU. I haven't even, man, I haven't seen the score yet. I got to look. The other dudes did not want to talk. Ben Miller, I was asking him, were the girls prettier at Duke or UPenn? I think the same thing is playing out in our series. Duke is gassed, in my opinion. Auburn tough again against LSU. Clemson Stanford game was entertaining as well. Yeah, I'm just getting like the first look at some of these scores. But man, North Carolina is dude. Like I told you guys, like North Carolina is starting to find the form, right? Everyone thought going into the season Pitching's going to be, and the pitching has been really good. The starting pitching was kind of, there was a little bit to start the year where it was like DeCaro wasn't pitching very well, wasn't missing bats, and they've kind of figured it out. They put Knapp on Friday, and that's kind of solidified everything. But the offense was the thing that was really lacking for the whole season, and they seem to have really figured it out now. Wake Forest is about as confusing as it can be. They beat Florida State, one of the top. Florida State was number 4 in the country when Wake beat them, and now they're just getting dominated. They just dominated in 2 games against North Carolina. Coastal wins the series against Georgia State. Duke has played 2 midweek games. One was 13 innings. The second one, they had to come back from down 7-2 in the 8th inning. Yeah, they've used a lot of arms. Yep. 100%, dude. 100%. That can do it. I will tell you this, from a coach's perspective, those double midweek game weeks, you're always kind of like, man, this is going to be a grind. You always looked at it like that, because at some point you're going to use a few of your good guys in the midweek, because you just got to, you got to cover a lot of innings. Seems like they figured out how to pitch to Rentaro. Can't hit anything up. Okay. I know Buck's got the advanced scouting report. I believe it though with the swing path. That makes sense, right? And again, to be fair, there's not a lot of guys that can really connect that can really, really, really have a lot of success on the pitch at the top of the zone. What usually what you're seeing, Buck, it's not that he can't hit it, it's that he can't stop swinging at it. That's really usually the issue. The issue is usually, most guys, from speaking for myself, I didn't want to swing at that, because unless I'm on time perfectly, I'm just going to fly out. Right? Some in the big leagues with the super juiced balls, and in college and somewhat, guys can have some success swinging at that, and that's why you do see a lot of guys swinging at pitches up out of the zone. But I think with Rentaro, and again, I haven't watched the game, but with most young hitters, it's not that they can't hit it, it's that they can't stop swinging at it, because a lot of times it's going to get called a ball. But kind of the same thing. Louisville dominates NC State 25-8. 25-8. Holy cow. Alabama ties the series up against Mississippi State. Mississippi State, again, they need to win this series. They've started playing better, but they have to win tomorrow. Again, do they have to win tomorrow? Whatever. But if you're 4-11 in the first 15, you got to go 9-6 the rest of the way to get to 13 wins. That's tough. He's not hitting even up in the zone. His plate discipline is pretty good. 6 for his last 49. Yeah, and again, that's a hole for a lot of hitters. The question is if pitching staffs can command that effectively. That's a tough pitch for most hitters to get to, right? You gotta have an elite path to be able to cover top of the zone or even up in the zone, but not fringe part, but just up inside the zone for sure, and down and all the other stuff. But that's a tough pitch to handle. Kansas loses the series against TCU. Another close game, though, 4-3. Southern Miss dominates Texas State. Georgia Tech dominated Cal. Boys, Georgia Tech's legit, man. It's I keep waiting to see a rough weekend, and they just keep the offense is as elite as it gets. It's just the offense has been even better if you look at the numbers the last 3 or 4 weeks than it was to start the year. The numbers are going up. And Brady Jones, maybe his best start of the year. I told a few of their younger players on the on-deck circle that in 2 or 3 months, your coach is going to be wearing our colors. Do you think that affected them? Probably not. I would hope not, but again, who knows? By the way, it was nice watching some ball with sun today. It snowed here in New York today. I was shoveling. Yikes. GT legit. Will Kyle go to Omaha? Shoot, man. I don't know. I would love to. I mean, Brady Jones, best start of the year by far today. Because again, you may say like, oh, he gave up 4 earned runs, but like with what you've seen from Brady Jones this year, if he goes 6 innings pitched and gives up 4 earned runs every start, you're in business, man. Because the story of the game is that Georgia Tech, let me make sure, did not have to use Jalen Payton. They didn't have to use their other elite, their tier 1 arm out of the pen, so he can pitch tomorrow and he can go 3 innings. Right? I don't know if Payton's the guy you want to go 4. Last time he went 4, I believe he wasn't able to pitch the next weekend. Had some soreness. But Brady Jones also, the ERA is down to 3.8. Right? So he's starting, I mean, he's really showing improvement. He's pitching, these last 2 or 3 starts have been a lot better. So that bodes really well for Georgia Tech. Only 2 walks on the game for Brady Jones. So really good game for him. Offense was electric, put up 15 runs. And again, Alex Hernandez hitting in the 4-hole, freshman. He is 7 for 7 in the series so far, and I think today they intentionally walked him twice. He went 3 for 3, and then they walked him in his last 2 at-bats. That's respect. The other thing for Georgia Tech is John Giesler, who missed like the first month of the year with injury. He's really starting to find his form. Hitting 347, he's hitting home runs, 5 RBIs tonight. Like if he can be the guy that people thought he was going to be at the start of the year before the injury, this offense is so elite. You're going to have a guy sitting on the bench that would play for a lot of teams offensively. This is the best GT team since when you were in school with Mark Pope, but can they deliver? I hope so. It definitely is. In that year in 2011, we went 22-8 in the ACC, and they're on track to do that right now. Not going to be easy, but they're on track to do it right now. Right? And a sweep tomorrow would be huge. GT doesn't play FSU, right? No, they don't. They don't play. I mean, and this is another thing, right? The team is, you can't take away from Georgia Tech, even though they have a fairly easy conference schedule. Like, they're dominating teams, right? They're not just winning close games. Clemson, the best team in the ACC right now, could have easily been a series win for Georgia Tech, right? Could have easily been a series win. Gave it up in the 9th inning on Sunday. So they've played well against the good teams they've played. They've dominated a lot of these lesser teams. They've got 2 sweeps on the year. They're going for a 3rd sweep this weekend or tomorrow. There are legit 11 or 12 SEC teams that can make it to Omaha. SEC is just on a different level. I don't know about 11 and 12, but there's certainly like 8 or 9. I think you can say that respectively. Because again, you got Missouri, South Carolina, Florida. They're out. I mean, A&M, can they go to Omaha? They look incredible right now, right? Huge comeback in the 9th today. And again, like, I would be scared. I mean, if we got to see what plans out, but my gut feeling is that A&M is going to be just dangerous the rest of the year with how they're playing. But I know I like the idea behind what you're saying, Zach, is 100% true. The SEC is super deep this year, like even deeper than a lot of times we think. Every time I see them break a record, I see last time since 2010. Yeah, it's last time since like 2010 or 2011 or 2013, right? And those are 2 of the teams I played on. So yeah, this Georgia Tech team is just about as legit a team as they've had in over a decade. Because even in 2019, when they were a national seed, if you looked at the team overall, they had really good pitching. The offense overperformed big time from what people thought. They didn't have quite the star power that this team has offensively. Will Texas A&M get to 10 SEC wins? I think so, Buck. I think so now. Because they're at 6 wins right now, and they're halfway through the year, halfway through the stretch. So again, they got really tough schedule coming up. Like, this was a must win series for them, and they swept. And again, I just think, like, baseball is a momentum sport, and right now the momentum is on their side. Auburn taking series from LSU and Kentucky possibly taking a series from Texas shows how much depth there is. Yeah, but Auburn's number 11 in the country, right? Like, Auburn's legit. So it's not like a massive upset for Auburn to beat LSU. Don't get me wrong, it's an upset, but it's not nearly as big of an upset as kind of maybe it even feels like. Not until next week. Next week is the letdown week. Oh yeah, okay, sure, Kane, sure. I mean, the updated stats for Georgia Tech are just insane. They're hitting 343 as a team 35 games into the season. In conference play, they're hitting 335. Their numbers are almost identical to what they are outside, just total on the year. Really excited to see my guy Nathaniel Coupe get the start today as well in the DH spot, and got 1 for 2, 3 RBIs, a couple walks. Has Early saved guy's job yet? Yeah, I think so. Again, losing a job after 1 year is insane. Is usually not going to happen, just typically. Certainly, if they continued playing like they were, like the first third of the year, it looked like it could be a possibility. I do think now it probably doesn't happen, but we have to see how the rest of the season goes. All right, let's look at the rest of these scores. Georgia beat Arkansas. Georgia beats number 1 Arkansas, ties the series, close game, wins 7-6. Big rubber match tomorrow. Troy beats James Madison. I think Florida State doubleheader today against Virginia Tech and swept the doubleheader. Oklahoma dominated Vandy, both sitting at 7-7 in the SEC, both in the top 20. Again, speaking to the depth of the SEC, Oklahoma has won the series. They're going for the sweep tomorrow. Ole Miss beat Tennessee tonight. So big rubber match tomorrow between number 5 and number 6. UCLA tied the series against Washington. Auburn, big series win against LSU, going for the sweep tomorrow. Clemson barely beat Stanford 11-10. But again, like we've talked about, Clemson, all these Coop, North Broward Prep. That's right. One of my guys. He was one of the first guys I worked with. And really, really big tools. And he's just, he didn't get any playing time last year, just put his nose to the grindstone, and he's starting to kind of see it come to fruition. So I was really excited for him today. Yep, Grand Slam last week as well. Yep. Vandy doesn't seem to have players on the level of a few years ago on either side of the ball. I would agree. I think they don't quite have... They still have some stars, right? But they don't have quite the star power that you're accustomed to seeing, right? Like a Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter type rotation. Like Carson Fulmer, Walker Buehler, Tyler Beatty, like those type arms. They don't seem to quite have that level of arms. RJ Austin's hitting 287, right? He was supposed to be one of their big guys, not doing great. You know, and again, he's hitting 287. Ask him to put you down with the 2027 at MVP so you can send him to Miami or GT. The 2027? I'm working with his little brother as well. Danny Burke, my kid plays at prep. Oh, nice. His younger brother Gabriel, I'm working with. I'm really disappointed in Duke this year. Very overrated team. Well, we have to wait. We have to see. They certainly have not played so far. Even though they have shown some. And again, they lost today against Miami, but I think they are playing better. They are playing better. But they're almost like, watching the Masters this weekend, like Scotty Scheffler so far this weekend. It just seems like he can't get on a roll, right? And so much of getting to being a host in a national seed is like you get on a roll and stay on a roll. And for me, Duke right now, they just can't seem to get on a roll, right? They can't seem to just be firing on all cylinders for like 2 or 3 weekends in a row. And Georgia Tech's been doing that like all year. Don't see Duke making the tournament this year. You don't think so? Let's go through the rest of these scores. Let me just see if there's any other interesting ones. Oh, man. And that's like, look at Virginia. Like, Virginia right now is split with Pitt. Like, Virginia's 8-9 in the ACC. And hoping to get to 500. But again, at 500, 18 games in, they still technically control their destiny. Duke is sitting at 9-8 in the ACC. Like, I think they'll make the tournament, Zach. Again, unless they just implode over the remaining final almost third of the season, I think Duke will make the tournament. But I'll tell you what, if Miami wins this series, right, they're still, they're close enough. They still got to play really well, but they're close enough. Going to be hard for Virginia to make the tournament. They're in the 80s in RPI. Well, let's look at Virginia's remaining schedule because they do play Georgia Tech. So like a series win against Georgia Tech, that would boost the RPI big, right? It's like, let's see. All right, so Virginia plays Florida State. So if they win that series, their RPI will get boosted. Then they play Georgia Tech. RPI will get boosted. They play Miami. Then they play VT, who's another really good team. So they got 3 teams coming up that could really boost their RPI if they get on a roll. But again, Zach, like they got a pretty tough finish to the schedule, so you could be right. Miami is done. Ring the bell. We'll see. We'll see. Most of our series as well are at home. Yeah, and that bodes well. Gavin, what's up, man? Just chilling, talking about the games this weekend, the big games. Danny, don't tell me I scared you. Yeah, Canes at 5 and 10, it becomes really difficult because then you got to go 10 and 5 the rest of the way. And even at 6 and 9, you got to go 9 and 6 the rest of the way to get to 15 and 15. But that's not like an absurd run to go 9 and 6. You know, that's not an absurd run. 10 and 5, that makes it that's a little bit sketchier. Would like your thoughts on him because I know Miami will be recruiting him. So Stanford has lost 11 straight games in ACC play. That is tough. Did you see Arkansas State walk off in the 10th? No, I didn't. I didn't see it. It was the other night. Oh, yeah. I don't think I saw it. Also robbed a home run in the 9th. That's sick. $11? How is that even possible? What do you mean 11? Wonder if the travel is affecting both Cal and Stanford. I think 100% it. 100% it is. Like anyone who's played, like, and me personally, like I've made trips from like West Coast to like East Coast or West Coast to Central Time. Like traveling east is much more difficult than traveling west. Traveling west is actually like very easy. It almost like when I would go to spring training, the first week I would wake up at like 3 a.m. and felt like it was 7 o'clock. So I felt like I was totally rested. And then I'd wake up and be like, oh my gosh, I got like 3 more hours before I need to get up and like start shower and start heading to the field. So, oh, you're talking about Stanford. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. 11 losses. And 11 losses in ACC play is crazy. And again, like Stanford swept one opponent. They beat UNC 2 of 3. They were looking like, oh, they're legit. And then, boom, they've lost 11 straight. Like, how is that possible, especially with a team that brought back 92% of their roster? Yeah. I mean, again, it's just like, I can guarantee you it's a big disadvantage to having to travel east all the time. Huge disadvantage. Right? That's why it doesn't make sense. That's why conferences were always kind of regional, at least like time zone wise. Like they're pretty much all in the same region. Like if you go from Central Time to Eastern Time, it's not a big difference. But when you go from Eastern Time to Pacific Time, or you go from Pacific Time to Eastern Time, Pacific to Eastern is brutal. But travel doesn't look like it's affecting Oregon or UCLA. True. But I mean, it's not like they're not Oregon and UCLA. A lot of the teams they're traveling to are in Central. So that extra hour helps a little bit. It's not, I mean, your point makes sense. Stanford pitcher night called a timeout after yet another error to give it to his fielders. Wow. No, they are. You're not wrong, Canes. They are losing a lot at home. They swept UNC and beat Duke at Duke, I believe. Yeah, you're not wrong. Stanford was bad last year, Buck. You're right. At least we won't have them in Omaha. Most boring fans. Something isn't clicking at Stanford. All the hype and turned in nothing. Wait, what did the Stanford pitcher do? I don't know. Buck, I didn't see the game, but Buck apparently Buck said that apparently one of the Stanford pitchers called a timeout on the mound after one of their fielders made an error and like ripped him, I guess, which is wow, that's you want to have your defense play good behind you? Don't do that. I'm now rooting for the fans I want to see in Omaha. I haven't seen Clemson yet, so nice to have them, but they seem to collapse in the supers each year. Auburn would be interesting as well. Yeah, North Carolina, FSU, and Clemson look like national seeds in the ACC. Yeah, I think those three are. Again, I think FSU and Clemson for sure. As of right now, North Carolina, I think it's between North Carolina and Georgia Tech, right? And if North Carolina. To me, this is the issue that's going to happen. This is what the issue is going to be. Let me just check. So right now, North Carolina is 10-7. Georgia Tech is 13-4. So they're 3 games better than UNC right now. So to me, if Georgia Tech finishes with a better record in the ACC, Georgia Tech's going to get that national seed spot. If North Carolina gets like close, if they tie them, I think North Carolina will get it because they kind of had the preseason hype, the higher preseason. Georgia Tech wasn't ranked preseason. North Carolina was one of the top, I think number 5 or something preseason. Man, root for us, Buck. Help us. I wonder if Clemson will be able to beat an SEC team in the regional or supers. SEC teams seem to give them hell. It's a good question. I think Clemson has the true number 1 ace, right? They got Aiden Kanak. Darden's pretty good behind him. So I think Clemson matches up really well against anybody. The question is just like, do they win the series or not? I think that's one. The SEC kills Clemson in the tournament. Yeah. SEC basically kills everybody in the tournament, typically. Golly. I'll be at the BC series in Fenway. Only reason I'm traveling is to see the Canes in Fenway. You're the international man of mystery, Canes. You're traveling all the time. If North Carolina wins the rest of their series and beats FSU at the end, that should lock up a national seed. Yeah, that no, you're right about that. Fenway, I'm not going to that hole. Dude, don't say that about Fenway. Fenway's legit. Have you seen St. John's has been coming back with their record? Yeah. Yeah, they're playing really well. Miami Hurricanes in Fenway, that's a spectacle, Buck. I think the Hurricanes anywhere for you Canes is a spectacle. They started really bad, and now they're like 19-11, I think. Yeah. No, they're playing really well. And St. John's is always really good. But it's baseball. No way to predict these last 5 weeks. 100%. 100%. There's no way to predict what's going to happen. But at this point in the year, you kind of know teams have shown you who they are for the most part, right? There will be a few that come out of nowhere and you're like, where was that all year? A&M's kind of doing that right now. But for most teams, their identity has been sealed at this point. So, like for Georgia Tech, for example, you know how they're going to use their bullpen. You know that, the Friday and Saturday guys have started to pitch really. I mean, Tate McKee's been great all year, but both of them, Brady Jones has really started to turn a corner here the last 3 starts, and both of them are starting to go deeper in games, like into the 6th inning. And so for Georgia Tech, their offense is going to bang, and they got 2 pretty good starting pitchers. Caden Spivey looked really good last weekend on Sunday, so that could be an even bigger bump for Georgia Tech if he pitches like he did last weekend, and that's a consistent thing. And then they got 2 pretty legit arms in the bullpen that have shut down teams all year. Guy from my high school is pitching at St. John's, hoping he gets drafted soon. Hey, good luck to him, man. Whatever I predict, the opposite will probably happen. Yeah. That's usually a good way to look at it in baseball. It's the first MLB stadium the Canes are playing in. That is outside the state of Florida. Since Ron Frazier was the coach, we played in the Minnesota Twins Dome. Wow. Who's the most likely host as a mid-major right now? To me, like I wouldn't be surprised if it's Coastal. Right. To me, it's even though UC Irvine is ranked at 13, I just think Coastal's playing way better competition in general. That's not taking anything away from Irvine, but I think Coastal's in a better conference. They're playing better non-conference teams, like they're playing UNC, they're playing East Carolina, they're playing all the really good teams in the Carolinas. So to me, it's probably right now it's looking like Coastal or Troy. Coastal or Troy to me. And again, I think Irvine's in that conversation. And Irvine's the highest ranked team, right? Irvine's the highest ranked team. I'm just going to take this hat off for right now. Irvine's the highest ranked team. But again, I just think Coastal is kind of, you're right, but Coastal's kind of quietly, they're just like winning every series. Probably Coastal Carolina, their RPI is 11 and 27 strength of schedule, and the Sun Belt is a really strong conference. Yeah, that's what I think too, Zach. I think it ends up being I think it ends up being Troy or Coastal just because they are in the best mid-major conference by far. Why not Cal Poly? Again, same thing with Irvine. Doesn't mean Cal Poly's not playing great. but they're just not like that. Mid-major conference is just it's not really close to the Sun Belt, unfortunately. The Sun Belt has Southern Miss, Troy, Coastal Carolina. Like the Sun Belt has like 3 or 4 top 25 teams. I played summer ball game at Coastal during a tourney last summer. Their field and complex is awesome. Yeah, and that's the other thing with Coastal, and like the one thing that no one says is that like the NCAA wants good host sites as well. So there's always one West Coast host. Who will it be? I think maybe UCLA for sure right now. Definitely UCLA. That's the other thing too. Like Oregon, UCLA are up there right now. I'm looking. Let me pull it up, Canes. All right, so right now, I'll pull this up too, just so everyone can see. All right, so right now, mid-major RPIs, Coastal's the top at number 10. Cal Poly, pretty big drop to 19, even though 19 is still really good. Then it's Irvine, then it's Dallas Baptist, then it's McNeese, then it's UTSA. Again, to me, unless Dallas Baptist goes on a run, it's not going to be Dallas Baptist. I don't think it'll be Cal Poly or Irvine. I don't know about I don't know what Cal Poly's facility looks like. Irvine could definitely host, but Coastal Carolina's got one of the best facilities in the country. So the NCAA is going to want them to be the host. That's why we always get a host. I mean, that's the funny thing is that, like, unfortunately, that is the case a lot of times. Like, the NCAA wants it to be, but the problem is, like, these conferences, there's no regional conferences anymore, right? Like, I mean, the SEC is still, but like the ACC has teams on the West Coast. The Big Ten has teams on the East Coast, on the West Coast. The Big 12 has teams all over the place. Indiana State wasn't a host last year because they didn't have enough hotels in their city because of the Special Olympics. Duke couldn't host because of their stadium capacity. Yeah, Duke's like, and that's again, like, talk about how great a job Pollard's done. Duke's, like, their actual facility is not great. Like there's no seating. So it's going to be interesting to see just how the next 3 or 4 weeks, because here's the deal: in like 3 weeks, we'll have a pretty good idea who the hosts are going to be. Like, we have a decent idea right now, but again, there's still so much time. Like, a lot of the ACC teams have 15 or 12 games left, so they're like halfway or just past halfway. Still a lot of time for a team to really get hot, sweep a few teams, and all of a sudden they're in a totally different thing. Duke has half a stadium. Yeah. I mean, you really can't call it a stadium. It's like a field. That's the issue. Like, they play a lot of games at Durham, which is a great stadium, but that's not theirs. And you can't host there because pro team's going to be playing. The Durham Bulls. Duke facilities are as bad as Pitt and BC. Yeah. 100%. That's why when there's teams like that and you have a big city team like Miami, they will take Miami because Miami, you can stay anywhere and go to the game. 100%. Exactly right, Canes. Right? Because ultimately, like, it's about making money. And so if you see a team all of a sudden get a host and you're like, wait, there's other teams better than that team. But it's like, oh, wait, they're in a premium city. As many, like, thousands of fans are going to be able to get hotels very easily. The stadium can hold a lot of people, right? Those are the things they're looking for. And you have to have a minimum capacity to be able to be able to even be a host. And that's why you will have teams that you have seen some teams where they don't get the host, but they're the 1 seed, right? We've seen that. Like a team be the 1 seed in a regional and not host, which that sucks. Let me look it up right now, Canes. I'm checking right now. You know what? I maybe misspoke, and I think it was being discussed one of the last couple of years where there was a team who could potentially be a 1 seed on the road. So maybe it hasn't happened yet. Yeah, I can't find it. I think maybe it's what I just said. I think there was talk about it over the last couple of years. There was a couple situations where they for sure send those teams to the number 16 and 15 seeds. Oh yeah. But that is something they can do. But I think the NCAA will always. I guess it doesn't really matter because you still pick a host site that is really good. Actually, you know what? It might even have been. Oh, you know what it was? It was a super regional. It was a super regional discussion, and it was basically the way the two regionals that were paired together panned out. I can't remember which ones they were. It was if the one team should be the host of the super regional, but they didn't have a big enough facility to host, so they would basically go on the road but be the home team, if that makes sense. That was it. I can't remember which one it was though. One year FSU was the 1 seed, but had to go play in UConn. This was in the early 2010s. Had to go play at UConn? Why is that? There you go, Zach. I remember a couple years ago, Dallas Baptist was the higher seed, but went to Virginia for the Supers. Yep, that might have been it. That might have been the one I was talking about. That's what it was. It was a super regional pairing where, like, a team like Dallas Baptist was, which again, maybe Dallas has changed now, but whichever team it was, maybe that's what it was, Zach. The team that was should have been the higher seed, meaning they should be the home. They should be the host for the Super. Wasn't able to host, so they had to go be the home team on the road. I remember that Zach and the two-way kid hit a walk-off like 11 a.m. in the morning. Yep. What teams have rubber matches tomorrow in the ACC? All right, let's look. Let's go to the ACC tab. All right, so right now, Virginia and Pittsburgh rubber match tomorrow. NC State, Louisville rubber match tomorrow. And again, Louisville's in the conversation for a potential national seed as well. Number 14 in the conference right now. Again, it's just weird because you look, they're like 9-5 in the ACC. Georgia Tech's 13-4, and Georgia Tech's ranked below them. It's just a little bit strange, but that's a rubber match. Miami, Duke, Virginia, Pitt. Okay, so Virginia and Pitt played a doubleheader today. All the double headers have gone. A lot of those things are going split. Miami, Duke, Louisville, NC State, Pitt, Virginia, BC, Notre Dame. Yep. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me tonight. I got to wake up early to catch a flight. So I will not be streaming tomorrow. I'll be back Monday night. So Tuesday I'll be back like normal, stream during the day. So I'll see you guys then.